Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise on CW18 starts now.
Good morning, I'm Sheldon Dutez, and I'm Jason Guy. Now at 9 o'clock, Tim Walz and J.D. Vance squared off in the first and only vice presidential debate.
And Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this.
He's very worried about the things that I've said in Springfield.
The heated moments and how the debate may impact the election.
Plus, President Biden and Vice President Harris are preparing to survey Hurricane Helene damage.
We have to jumpstart this recovery process. People are scared to death.
Where they will help out and oversee recovery efforts later today.
And tension is rising in the Middle East as Iran has made good on its threats to attack Israel. And Iran says the missile launches were in response to the killing of a Hezbollah leader and others.
Yeah, the Iranian attack is a move that raises concerns of a widening regional conflict. Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon have killed at least 7 high-ranking Hezbollah officials in recent weeks. Yesterday's attack is sharply rebuked, though, by the U.S.
This is totally unacceptable, and the entire world should condemn it.
We call on Iran to halt any further attacks, including from its proxy forces.
Iran's president posted a warning on social media saying this action was in defense of the interest and citizens of Iran, to let Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu know that Iran is not belligerent, but it stands firmly against any threat. Do not enter into a conflict with Iran. Netanyahu says that Iran will pay for these attacks, and the Gaza-based terror group Hamas praised the launch of Iranian missiles toward Israel, saying they avenged the deaths of prominent figures who have been killed. And the fighting in the Middle East has a lot of people here in Central Florida on edge.
Yeah, the Orange County Sheriff's Office told us it's increasing the presence of deputies around synagogues and mosques to make sure everyone is safe. Now, the tensions have been rising for almost a year after Hamas attacked Israel, which then responded by invading Gaza. After Iran's missile attack yesterday, we spoke with Israel's Consul General in Miami, who told us his country must defend itself.
And in the end of the day, if the projection of power is not enough and doesn't stop them, then we have to use the power, and they will pay for everything that they have done and for everything that they're doing.
But in Orlando, a group called the Florida Palestine Network organized a demonstration calling for this war to end.
I call on governments and institutions in the United States and across the world to impose an immediate arms embargo on Israel. An arms embargo is not just a policy decision, it is a moral imperative. It is a signal that the world will no longer tolerate the killing of innocents.
The Orange County Sheriff's Office did tell us, quote, "We stand with all members of our community and will do what we can to make everyone feel safe. And we will continue to work with all law enforcement agencies in Orange County to ensure the safety of our residents and visitors. And we are always on standby to assist our law enforcement partners when requested." That was part of the statement. The Florida Palestine Network says it plans to have a week of action this week in Orlando, finishing with a protest on Saturday. Ahead for you at 9:30, we're going to hear from the president as well as the candidates in this year's election about those attacks. The vice presidential candidates went head-to-head as we turn to our Commitment 2024 coverage. This was all last night in what was a critical vice presidential debate with just about a month away from Election Day.
Yeah, J.D. Vance and Tim Walz went back and forth on a lot of key issues, each looking to gain an edge over each other in the race. The candidates talked about their party's positions on the top issues, including the economy.
I know a lot of you are struggling. I know a lot of you are worried about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump brings back common sense to this country.
Kamala Harris has said to do the things she wants to do, we'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our system works best.
They also sparred on reproductive rights.
Let the individual states make their abortion policy.
Just mind your own business on this. Things worked best when Roe versus Wade was in place.
On the southern border, we also heard from them.
You've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall.
Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this. And he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built, and Mexico didn't pay a dime.
And they brought up comments previous ones made by the Republican candidates, specifically about Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. That's when things did get a bit heated, and the moderators muted the mics of those candidates.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check.
Okay, the debate, other than this, really mostly was cordial, with the candidates agreeing on some issues. And for a breakdown, we're going to turn to Hearst political analyst Mark Sandalow, who is live for us this morning in our Washington, D.C. bureau. All right, Mark Sandalow live for us with great insight as usual. Thanks, Mark.
All right, we will have more from the debate in our next half hour, including the candidates' views on gun control, Hurricane Helene, and the 2020 election.
President Biden yesterday reiterated his promise to help the victims of Hurricane Helene.
This was a hurricane of unprecedented and historic proportions. Over the past several days, I've been in regular contact with the governors, the mayors, the county officials in all affected areas. That includes Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and Virginia. Now, in the storm's wake, I've directed my team, including the leadership of key departments and agencies all across the government, to send every, and I mean it seriously, every available resource that we have at our disposal to the affected region.
President Biden will travel to North and South Carolina today to survey damage, while Vice President Kamala Harris goes to Georgia. And after Helene, so many people are in need of basics like food and water.
Yeah, Second Harvest is sending some resources up to those areas. WESH 2 Spencer Tracy reports these supplies are going all over hard-hit areas. Next on Sunrise, people all over Orlando are invited to join in the walk to end Alzheimer's.
And it's happening this weekend. We're going to be talking to two of the leaders about why this walk is so important to them and the future of Alzheimer's research. That's right after this quick break.
Plus, more women in the U.S. are being diagnosed with breast cancer. What a new report says about this increase in cases, especially among women under the age of 50.
This Saturday, people around Orlando are all invited to join in the annual Walk to End Alzheimer's. Joining us now are two of the walk's ambassadors. We have Erin Branton and Connie Culp. Great to see you. Connie,
yes,
Erin, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we just need the weather to cooperate, right? Okay, WESH 2 is also partnering at the Come Out with Pride parade that is coming for Orlando in 2024. It's just about 2 weeks away. You can see that parade exclusively on WESH.com, the WESH 2 Facebook page, and on the very local streaming app. We've got our coverage beginning at 4 in the afternoon on October 19th. So many things that are happening to bring awareness and to support great causes in Central Florida. And meteorologist Kellyanne Class has the forecast for all of it. Yeah, no pressure here for you, Kellyanne.
Yeah, I will say in the morning hours it's not looking too bad. A little bit of humidity, but then going into the afternoon we'll start to watch showers and thunderstorms roll on in. A couple of clouds this morning from our Tower Cam network out at Port Canaveral with very humid conditions. We're at the steamy category on our muggy meter, so we already have a feels-like temperature of 82 in Orlando, where the actual temperature is 79. It feels like 84 degrees in Titusville, 81 in Daytona Beach, and 81 degrees in DeLand. Now this afternoon will feel a lot more like the middle 90s, but at times we could feel like 98 degrees. That'll be right around 2 o'clock. And it's all thanks to a lot of moisture streaming into Central Florida, even though we have a stalled front over the area. Ahead of that front, we have warm, humid conditions, dry and cooler conditions behind that front. But unfortunately, we're not dry enough here in Central Florida. So we'll have some showers and thunderstorms developing later on this afternoon, up to a 50% coverage. A few pop-up showers along the I-95 corridor late this morning, early afternoon. Those then gradually work inland. If you're south of Flagler County, Marion County, these are the best opportunities to see scattered showers and thunderstorms. 3, 4 o'clock, more rainfall on the way. And then by 5:36, things slowly work back towards the west. An isolated shower or two by 9 and 10 o'clock tonight. Otherwise, things gradually dry out. If you are heading out to Halloween Horror Nights tonight, 6:30, we're watching the radar, but after that, things are looking good, just very humid. Your first warning 7-day forecast shows an increase in rainfall Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. We'll talk about why in the next half hour. We'll be right back.
First Warning Weather on CW18 is sponsored by attorney Dan Newlin.
It is a common cancer among women. The American Cancer Society estimates that more than 310,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer just this year. And a new report released yesterday shows more women under 50 are getting the disease and more black women are dying from it.
As Breast Cancer Awareness Month kicked off this week, Mandy Gaither has a look at that new data and what experts say has to happen to close this disparity gap. All right, in an effort to address the ongoing cancer disparities, the American Cancer Society launched a study called Voices of Black Women. It's aimed at researching younger black women here in the United States who have not been diagnosed with cancer to try to better understand their risk and possible cancer outcomes. Anyone interested can visit their website, voices.cancer.org.
Ahead on Sunrise, we're hearing some heroic stories out of the response to Hurricane Helene,
including one about a father who walked 17 miles in that storm to get to his daughter's wedding. And a warning for buyers, what you need to watch out for if you plan to buy a used car in the next couple months.
WESH 2 News starts now with breaking news.
Just in here on WESH 2 News, if you were driving along Curry Ford Road near the 417, you might see a lot of smoke. Check out this picture on your screen. Orange County Fire is telling us 2 cars erupted in flames at Wawa underneath the canopy covering the gas pumps. This Wawa is near Dean and Curry Ford Roads. Firefighters were able to shut off the fuel and knock down those flames. We're told no one was hurt. At this point, we don't know what sparked the fire. And here at 9:30, we thank you for staying with us. I'm Jason Guy. We turn now to Commitment 2024, and all eyes were on that first and likely only vice presidential debate last night of this election season. Tim Walz and J.D. Vance went head-to-head. The 2 running mates shook hands before the debate got underway, and then they began making their cases for why they and their presidential candidates would be the best fit for our country.
What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership. We've seen a calmness that is able to draw on the coalitions to bring them together, understanding that our allies matter.
We have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence.
The candidates also spoke about climate change and the effects of Hurricane Helene.
Our hearts go out to those innocent people. Our prayers go out to them. And we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible. And then, of course, afterwards, to help the people in those communities rebuild.
It is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane. And my heart goes out to the folks that are down there. Governors know no partisanship. They work together. So all of the governors and the emergency responders are on the ground. Those happen on the front end. The federal government comes in, makes sure they're there to that we recover.
And the candidates also spoke about gun control.
I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting. I'm sorry about that, and I hope that he's doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful. We have to increase security in our schools. We have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors stronger. We've got to make the windows stronger.
There are reasonable things that we can do to make a difference. It's not infringing on your Second Amendment. And the idea to have some of these weapons out there, it just doesn't make any sense.
The debate was mostly civil between the vice presidential candidates until there was a question asking Vance if former President Trump lost the 2020 election.
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
And this morning, we're getting our first look at how voters are reacting to the debate. More than 500 registered voters who watched were polled, according to a CNN instant poll of debate watchers conducted by SSRS. The debate watchers were closely divided over which candidate did the better job. 51% said Vance won the debate and 49% said Walz won. The event also left viewers with more positive views of both these candidates than they held before the debate. And the candidates spoke of Iran's attack on Israel as the debate took place just hours after missiles were launched at Tel Aviv. We apologize. We're having some trouble with that portion of the debate footage. Some of the attacks were caught on video there as they were happening above Israel yesterday.
Yo! 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 Yo!
Israel says Iran fired nearly 200 missiles at its territory. Remarkably, the Israeli military says it's not aware of any deaths associated with the attack. Iran says the attack was in response to a ground operation in southern Lebanon targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel assassinating Hezbollah's leader in a strike on Friday. This morning, we're hearing from American leaders about the attack, including former President Donald Trump.
I've been talking about World War III for a long time, and I don't want to make predictions because the predictions always come true. We're not going to make, but they are very close to global catastrophe. We have a non-existent president and a non-existent vice president who should be in charge, but nobody knows what's going on.
Vice President Kamala Harris also responded, posting on X that she unequivocally condemns Iran's reckless and brazen attacks against Israel, adding, Israel, with our assistance, was able to defeat the attack. Our cooperation saved many lives. My commitment to the security of Israel is unwavering, and we will never hesitate to defend U.S. forces and interests against Iran. And today we are also hearing from President Biden.
We've been in constant contact with the Israeli government and our counterparts, and that remains to be seen.
What is your message to Prime Minister Netanyahu, and have you spoken with him today?
I haven't spoken with him. We have spoken with all his people, and I'll be talking to him, and my message will depend on what we finally conclude is needed.
President Biden also praised the work of the U.S. military in conjunction with the Israeli military in turning back Iran's attack. Biden called the attack defeated and ineffective. You can learn more about the attack and the recent escalation of fighting in the Middle East right now on WESH.com or by downloading our free WESH 2 News mobile app. Ryan Ruth, the gunman charged in the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, had his trial date set for next month. According to a court filing, Judge Eileen Cannon filed an order Tuesday setting a criminal jury trial for November 18th. However, this trial date could move if either party files a motion to delay it. Ruth could spend the rest of his life behind bars if he's convicted on all counts. He pleaded not guilty to charges on Monday. And here at 9:36, tens of thousands of dock workers are on strike. It's after a labor agreement lapsed. This is affecting ports across the U.S., including here in Florida. And experts say for every week this strike drags on, the backlog at ports will grow by 4 to 6 weeks. And eventually the supply chain disruption will make its way to the prices we all pay. And as we look at the impact of Hurricane Helene, the Southeast is just reeling in the storm's aftermath. There is a bit of good news coming in this morning, and that is about the heroes, the people who have gone above and beyond to help. NBC's Priscilla Thompson introduces us to some of the people who saved others from flooding. And we are also hearing a story of love that came out of the storm. A father traveled 27 miles, most of it on foot, to get to his daughter's wedding. David Jones hit the road last Friday night, traveling from South Carolina to his daughter Elizabeth's wedding when he got to a crumbled bridge and he was stuck. Jones is a marathon runner. Gives you a little backstory here. He was determined to walk his daughter down the aisle, even if it meant walking the rest of the way to the church. He says he traveled about 17 miles on foot. He fell waist deep into sand, lost a shoe momentarily. He climbed roots and trekked through mud and ran into state troopers who told him to turn around. His response?
My daughter's getting married at 11 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to be there to walk her down the aisle.
A trooper and a passerby gave him a ride for the remaining 10 miles. He got to the church at 7:30 in the morning. plenty of time to get him cleaned up. And after that happy ending, Elizabeth and her now husband are traveling to Hawaii for their honeymoon. Congratulations on the marriage, and so glad Dad made it there. We're also hearing stories about people coming together here in Florida. Businesses along the Volusia County coast know what it's like to go through a hurricane. That's why a new Smyrna Beach restaurant is helping those in the Tampa Bay area as they're recovering from Helene. Merck's Barn Grill has turned some seating into essentially a big donation bin. The manager started this drive to help victims. Merck's will be collecting donations through Friday. They say they need toiletries and cleaning supplies the most. If you are looking to purchase a used vehicle soon, there are things that you need to be cautious about after Hurricane Helene. There's been heartbreaking devastation with several states dealing with this catastrophic flooding. The storm has prompted a warning from experts at Carfax. If you're in the market for a used car, they say tens of thousands of cars could have been exposed to flood damage.
But what happens is that car begins to rot from the inside out. So we see things like the electrical system become compromised. When the electrical system becomes compromised, we see safety systems become compromised. Things like automatic braking or blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, all these systems that a lot of drivers today rely on to keep them safe no longer working.
Experts say you should be on the lookout for damp upholstery or carpeting in a vehicle, as well as engine oil that may be murky or cloudy. Also, if you spot rust in places that you might not normally see rust, it's a sign a vehicle may have been underwater at one time. You can help people impacted by Hurricane Helene. Just scan the QR code. It's up on your screen right now. Take a look. We also have a page on WESH.com where you can donate to the American Red Cross. That link is on our homepage right now. Okay, we're just 9 weeks out from the OUC Orlando Half Marathon. After the break, we're learning how to find the right trail for your run.
First Warning Weather on CW18 is sponsored by Advent Health. Time and temperature brought to you by attorney Dan Newlin.
Get ready to have a new best day of your life.
Show me something. This is a sensational season on the CW. Let the games begin.
Did you guys have a good birthday?
You might.
It's cool.
No, it was cool.
Superman's house, hot day.
Show me something.
What happened to your sense of invention?
Show me something.
Life's got a way of showing you what your next move's gonna be.
Party's on, Robert's hot, and the crowd is jumping. Let's have some fun! Show me something.
I'm Raven Smoke. Welcome to Scrabble.
Show me something.
Let the pursuit begin.
We are in the crowd is absolutely deafening.
I'm a thief.
You and I are gonna get along, John.
Show me something.
This girl isn't just a pretty face, she's a bad chick. There's something about a woman putting in your place.
Football is back.
And it's caught!
Come back if you're bored.
Show me something. Oh, my heavens.
We are 9 weeks out from the OUC Orlando Half Marathon, so we hope you've begun your training to run with Team WESH December 7th. As part of that training, you need to log some miles. WESH 2 Stuart Moore caught up with the Oviedo Run Club to find out where you can train safely as you get ready for race day. All right, this year we've got Stuart, Sheldon, and Sonica training to run the OUC Half Marathon. You can train to run it with them thanks to a great deal from Runner's World. Up on your screen right now, we're putting this QR code. Scan it or go to WESH.com. It'll be where you can find details about the exclusive deal for a half marathon training program, along with access to Runner's World coaches and all their running content. We'd love to have you on Team WESH December 7th for the OUC Orlando Half Marathon. And for a training run, you definitely wanted to get out already because we're heating up now, Kellyanne.
It's really hot outside with all of the humidity that we have, and you can clearly see that humidity on our Tower Cam network in Daytona Beach, a mix of sun and clouds to start with, the temperature of 78 degrees, but it's already 80 degrees in Titusville and in Melbourne. 79 degrees in Orlando, 80 degrees in the Villages, 79 degrees in Wildwood. We have this front stalled out over central Florida, which is bringing in a lot of moisture ahead of that front. So that means a couple of pop-up showers can't be ruled out this afternoon, but then going into the late afternoon, early evening hours, especially from the metro and south, we'll be tracking scattered thunderstorms. That'll be from 3 until 5. Still a couple of lingering thunderstorms around 6 and 7. After 7 o'clock, things begin to dry out, and then we are left with dry and clear conditions overnight tonight. Overall rain coverage will be right around 50%. Again, that's from 3 until 5. Still a couple of lingering showers and thunderstorms around 6, 7, and 8 o'clock tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be a hot day. High temperatures reach the upper 80s, but technically this is at average. 88 degrees is our average high. Coastline into the middle 80s, which is also at our average high temperature. Our rain chances stay elevated over the next couple of days. At the same time, our next area of low pressure moves into the Gulf of Mexico, and this is what we'll have to watch. Now, the National Hurricane Center is thinking that this could become a tropical depression this weekend, but they're only giving it a 40% chance of development in the next 7 days. Now, I will say a lot of our models showing this as a broad low pressure system, which means widespread rainfall chances, essentially. Now, there's going to be a cold front that moves south this weekend, and depending on how strong that front is and how quickly that front moves in will play a huge factor on where this low will set up. But a lot of our latest models showing around the Tampa area, lifting north from the earlier model runs when they were showing Southwest Florida and South Florida. Here's our two big models, European and GFS, showing that things gradually begin to increase that rain Sunday and Monday, while the European, the low still out in the Gulf of Mexico, while the GFS is showing that low getting closer to the peninsula. GFS is a little bit quicker with the exit of the rainfall on Tuesday. Whereas the European is a little bit slower. So we're going to be watching this. I'm not too concerned right now about significant development, but we need to watch what happens once this moves into the Gulf of Mexico, because of course things could change. But right now our rain chances are expected to increase Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday around a 60 to 70% coverage, with our high temperatures dropping into the middle 80s. We'll be right back.
We have quite a few Latino and Hispanic nationalities and cultures in Central Florida. And I think aside from the food and the language, one of the other things that brings us all together is community. Wanting to take care of each other, prop each other up, leave the door open behind us, and let others walk through behind us. So I think that is something that brings us all together. And I think that's something that we have seen play out over and over again here in Central Florida. Join us as WESH 2 celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month.
Sheriff. Now, my first name's Andy.
Andy. He's the sheriff known by one name.
Oh, howdy, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Andy.
Andy. Andy. Even those outside of Mayberry know him.
Andy. Run along, Andy.
Andy. Watch Andy.
This is Andy. Andy who?
On the Andy Griffith Show.
Weeknights beginning at 8 on Central Florida's MeTV. Over the air on Channel 2.2, Spectrum Channel 468.
See what all the excitement is about. Download the free Very Local app powered by WESH 2 and start enjoying local news, original series, and specials. Check out Hit Me With Your Best Spot, featuring the iconic Central Florida destination, Fun Spot America. From the most thrilling rides to the tastiest treats, all through the eyes of 3 of Central Florida's top influencers. Hit Me With Your Best Spot, featuring Fun Spot America. Playing now on the free Very Local app, powered by WESH 2. Download it today.
The family of actor John Amos announced yesterday that he died at the age of 84. According to his family, Amos, whose long career included a range of iconic roles in works including Roots, Good Times, and The West Wing, he passed away August 21st. Before finding success in acting, Amos played football at Colorado State and was briefly a Kansas City Chief. Yeah, did you know that? A statement from the actor's publicist shared that he died from natural causes. Oh, what a force in film. It is a common feeling when just too much seems to be happening at once, that the world is coming to an end. David Daniel shows us a new series that's based on people in Western Australia who could have been excused for feeling that way. Huh, all right. Daniel Day-Lewis may have gotten the 7-year itch in retirement. It took the bonds of family, apparently, to get him back on the silver screen. He'll be starring in a movie called Anemone, which will be directed by his son, Ronan Day-Lewis. The pair wrote the script together. It's set to explore the intricate relationships between fathers and sons. Daniel Day-Lewis was last seen in the 2017 film Phantom Thread. He's the only performer to win 3 Best Actor Oscars. And maybe this one will get a little Oscar buzz. Okay, the Orlando Magic are back here in the City Beautiful. The Magic are coming into 2024 with confidence that they can build on what was their most successful season in a decade. Training camp kicked off yesterday out at Magic headquarters. Orlando's returning with an almost identical roster from last season, but the big difference here, the expectations are heightened. The Magic will start the preseason with 2 games on the road next week. They'll return to the Kia Center next Friday night to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. And it is week 7 of Friday Night Hits. Can you believe it? Our game of the week will be Oviedo at Haggerty, but we need your help choosing the second game to feature. Go to the sports page of WESH.com to cast your vote. Right now, the poll closes this afternoon at 3, and we'll announce the winner tonight at 6. Our team is working on our next newscast. Join them today on our sister station for WESH 2 News at noon. Hope you have a great Wednesday.
The Neighborhood, weeknights at 5 on CW18.